Hey there folks, Tempesky here, bringing another audio commentary and in fact another game from WGT. Now we have the semi-finals, a match between Infi and Sai. Obviously going to be Elf versus Human, and currently Infi is 1-0 up in the upper brackets semi-final, so they're down to 4 people now in the upper brackets, and obviously there's lots more people in the lower brackets as well, waiting to come on up based on who wins and who makes it to the consolation final and the actual final as well. And so we do have Infi going for a standard opening by looks of things, and then Sai going for a tavern build. Interesting. There are some fantastic tavern builds on this map actually for this matchup. I really like one. There's one that we see quite often actually, where you go Tinker first, and then you just do this insane harassment. You're constantly dropping factories in and around their bases and places it's hard for militia to get to, and then you just constantly rally those little cockroach goblins to kill off their peasants and then the militia, and it does so much damage because obviously they do that splash as well. It's really fun. Alternatively, there's a really nice one where you can go panda first and you just run that panda. You can either run it back to do some very fast creeping, or you can build up a couple archers, which is probably a bit better for the creeping this camp, and in the meantime while you're doing that you can just send your panda down to do some harassment here. Meanwhile, we're probably going to be seeing we are seeing the Mount King first from Infi. This is just such a fantastic Mount King map. Obviously, you can creep to level 3 so quickly, first by creeping these two camps, and then you creep your expansion, and this camp actually can be crept quite easily without the Mount King, because obviously all of these do have normal armor, all these creeps, so they do go down fairly quickly to footmen, and that allows your Mount King to do other stuff as well. And really, there's just so many fantastic strategies on this map. It's interesting because it's a 2-player map, but it's also quite a large map, long distances, and then all the expansions are sort of exposed. They're sort of between between the 2 players. There's no ones that are super defended, so you do have to put up a fair few towers normally, although obviously having the Mount King does help for the elf quite a bit, and for the human quite a bit. Meanwhile, the elf is in a bit more trouble. We're gonna have to see what hero is gonna be chosen here by Sai. It's a couple seconds until the cooldown ends, and we can see, we do see militia creeping here, although no footman. Probably the first footman was sent to harass or something. Dark Ranger, ooh, that's interesting there for Sai. Really, Dark Ranger used to be really popular, and Sai used to be very good with the Dark Ranger as well, but it actually sort of fell out of favor because Mount King became more popular, and obviously Mount King Paladin combination is so strong against the Dark Ranger because of that super strong nuke, and this is such a Mount King favored map as well. Sai must have known that this Mount King was coming, so really there's either there's no excuse for such a mistake, or more likely he has some game plan or play style that will allow him to deal with that Mount King in a way that will stop his Dark Ranger from just being focused down so quickly. And now with that Dark Ranger, as you always want to do, you creep out an easier camp before you go creep out the harder camp, just so you have those skeletons do some extra tanking, especially when you have super hard camp to creep like this one. And I think we did see a Shadow Priest being bought. Yes, we did. For Infi, that's a very smart move. It allows him to heal up his Mount King, which obviously did a lot of tanking here, and also it will allow him to dispel at least a couple of those skeletons, depending on how much mana he leaves it with when attacks do come. And chances are Sai will send at least a skeleton from this creeping, if not lots and lots of other skeletons as well, just directly to Infi's base. It's another way of doing some nice harassment, and immediately we're seeing the scout tower being put up by Infi. Smart move there. Putting it into an arcane tower really deals with these skeletons fantastically, and they do pose a huge threat. And we do already have level 2 now for this Dark Ranger, and interestingly, ooh, this is quite interesting, we're going to be seeing this camp being crept and presumably expanded upon as well. We're going to have to see, I assume Infi's going to want to be playing at least on 2 bases, if not 3. This is a great map to be playing on 3 bases. And we do have a bit of harassment here by this one footman trying to kill that wisp, but it doesn't go to much. In fact, that footman does die, and we're seeing a lot of mercs being picked up here, as you do often see, because you can have such a strong early army with the Dark Ranger. But the whole thing about the Dark Ranger, the one thing you really have to take away from playing with her, is that you have to be all about the momentum. You have to constantly be pushing. If you ever lose all your skeletons and you're not creeping, something like that, you're in a lot of trouble, because it's so hard to get back to that point. And really, we have to see Sai with some great momentum in this game, constantly pushing forward, constantly doing something, not just running back to his base to heal or something. He has to have a way of having creep routes where he can go past his base. If he does need to heal, he has to go past his base, sort of almost tangentially, and we're going to have to see how he's going to do that. Meanwhile, the Mount King has picked up a 1 mana ceiling, which is it's not a brilliant item, really. The Mount King needs more mana, but the Dark Ranger is often quite low because both her skills are fairly mana intensive. Actually, she did just pick up a potion of greater mana though, so maybe we're going to see that, and we can see these two dark minions now being sent to the base, but an arcane tower already up, and we can see this one skeleton trying to do some harassment, but he's not going to do much because of the fantastic arcane tower that is there. Just does so much to get rid of those summoned units, and looks like we are going to be seeing some more creeping here. As I said, just creeping out these small spots here are so useful, and we are seeing an expansion because creeping out those small spots just gives you as many skeletons as creeping out big spots with a couple strong creeps. So it's definitely worthwhile to creep out those small camps quickly and then do more of them, just because you get so many skeletons. And you know, actually, if you look at the map, look how many red dots there are all around the map. This is very nice play here by Sai, really having great map awareness. He knows everything that's going on at the moment, and we do actually have some tech now going on for Sai. Meanwhile, Infi still at tier 1, because obviously it's a bit harder for human to tech and expand as opposed to an elf trying to do it. And it looks like we do have the Dark Ranger use the staff teleportation to get in on this Dark Minion, so we do have a TP coming back, and it is an actual TP, not just staff teleportation. Bolt goes off, but the TP is used just at the right time. So fantastic timing there by Sai. Gets out of there and even forces Infi to waste a bit of mana, but certainly he lost a lot of mana himself. And he is actually now trapped in his base as well. He's going to need to kill off this one farm, but certainly it's worth it to get rid of that Dark Ranger, which can do so much harassing and can really delay your attack as well. You know, I think Infi will probably finish this one footman, and oh, actually no, he's quite low on gold and lumber at this point, so he will have to wait a little bit before he can start his attack, but I think he will be looking to start it quite soon. And we do have one tower up already at this base, but these archers should be able to make quick work of it, although actually they're going for the peasant, which they should just be out of range of the tower if they want to just take out the peasants, and that sort of suggests that Infi's going to be going for a bit of damage here, but not really committing to it with his Dark Ranger probably, or maybe he'll bring the Dark Ranger down now that these peasants are being walked out. But with the Mount King coming in, this attack isn't going to be able to last for too much longer. The Dark Ranger does actually level up to level 4 now, and the Mount King is coming in, going to go for a bolt on the, oh actually no, he goes for one straight on that. Shadow Priest does get the kill. I thought he was going to go for one on the Berserker. I think it might have run out of range or something just at the last second, or run out of vision, and so he didn't quite get it in time, and it looks like another bolt going off, this time on that Berserker, and now he's going to try and get the kill, but it's too much focus going down on this Mount King. Nice play here by Sai, and meanwhile the sort of large army of mercs and footmen going to come in from Infi, and that's going to really take out these archers quite quickly, as well as the Berserker, because they're all normal armor, so they all take extra damage from the footmen if the footmen can actually get to them. Meanwhile, Panda being chosen second by Sai. Now these hit tier 2, really standard choice, and I imagine we're going to be seeing some Ancients of Lore somewhere, maybe not quite yet, because he did spend all his original money just on getting that Panda out quickly so that he can chase away the army of Sai, or of Infi, which just has a lot of units, so Breath of Fire is just fantastically useful against it. And meanwhile, Dark Ranger being level 4 is very nice here for Sai. You do need to get that high level, just not only for the skeletons, but also just so that you can't be focused down as easily, because obviously bolts, rounds, things like that are very risky with that Dark Ranger, because she doesn't have a whole lot of health, and just because obviously Holy Light and stuff as well will do a lot of damage if Infi ever gets to tier 2, which looks like he has no ambitions of doing anytime soon. He is setting up more towers, trying to be very safe before he starts his tech, and that's certainly admirable. And ooh, look at this, some skeletons running in. Don't get the cancel on the clarity on the Mount King, which is the big thing, but do cancel the salve on a couple footmen who are healing up a bit, though most of them seem to be at pretty much full health, and we might be seeing some sort of push here by Infi, and Sai is now setting up his Ancients of Lore, and actually an Ancient of Wind as well. Interesting. Maybe he's anticipating tanks going to be coming into the game, or he just wants to have some really high focusing power because he has these two bases. He can't afford to build that third production building. A bolt going off on that archer, gonna be killed, and then the Mount King's gonna get out of here. It's a nice thing to do just because there's nothing else he could have focused down, but really archers are his lowest priority basically that are apart from those skeletons. And defended footmen now going to do some creeping. Obviously 4 of these creeps do piercing damage, so it's not too hard to creep out this camp just with defended footmen, and then actually a fair bit of DPS in the back as well as some healing, although these Shadow Priests don't have healing set to autocast, which is quite interesting. I guess Infi's not too worried about the footman health at this stage of the game. Ooh, Pendant of Energy and Scroll of Healing. Nice items here for this Mount King. But a bit of a creep jack coming in, bolt immediately going off on that archer and killing it, and then we'll see that Sai is going to probably be quite reluctant to fight. He might want to try and do some damage, but all the damage he's going to do is just going to be to area of effect damage, so it cannot be healed away. unless he can actually attack this Mount King. And look at the Mount King actually falling a bit too far back, but probably going to just manage to get out of here once he's done some damage. Going to try and take down this Panda, actually. This is very, very ambitious. You can see he's bringing in his footman. He does get one footman around. Does he I think he can probably, yeah, he can just get out of here. Mount King taking a lot of focus now. Goes for another bolt, and then TP's away. Will he get the kill? He does get the kill. Very, very nice there by Infi. I didn't think he could get that kill, but that bolt at the last second, running his Mount King away, but keeping it in bolt range. Very, very smart play here by Infi. He's just such a clever player, and he did manage to get away with that, and that's going to mean that Sai's just going to be able to creep out this Dark Ranger, and really at this point you want to be creeping up your Panda more than your Dark Ranger, because obviously level 1 Panda isn't brilliant, and you certainly want to be sharing the experience at very least. And looks like we do have more towers going up here. And do we have our tech? Yeah, we do finally have our tech going for Infi, who's probably, I think he might well go for tanks. It would be an alright strategy, really, and against the Dark Ranger it works quite well as well. But we're going to have to see what his plan actually is. Mount King now taking a lot of focus. I'm surprised actually in that last battle we didn't see silence from the Dark Ranger. Maybe she was just too low on mana or something. And meanwhile, good creep check here by Sai, killing a lot of footmen. And bolt goes off here on the Dark Ranger. Not going to do too much damage, but obviously when the only alternatives are a high hit point Ogre Mauler or skeletons, really, there's not, so that is the best choice. Another bolt goes off here. Is Sai going to be in trouble? He doesn't have a TP and he might be surrounded. He's going to sell an item. Will he buy a TP in time? He does buy one. He's choosing not to buy an invul pot, but it looks like he actually might be able to run away, because the Mount King ran one way to try and get the block, but that meant he was too far away to get off another bolt. He does have the mana for another bolt, and he did actually get a surround there on that Mauler, which is so nice for him, and the Mauler not doing damage until the last second because Sai doesn't realize it's surrounded. The Panda is now back though. Invisible Mount King runs straight up and gonna go for a bolt here. Will he be able to get the Panda kill as well? Such amazing Mount King play here by Infi with 2 pendants of energy as well, and considering he's not up against any mana burn, he's going to have so many bolts in him. That's very, very nice, and I think the limiting factor might be how many bolts he can get out before being silenced and around being silenced, because I imagine we're going to be seeing more silences here from Sai coming up soon. You know, we do have his tech straight to tier 3, so we might be seeing tanks, or we might be seeing some heavy air or something like that. We're going to have to see what his plan is. Though certainly going for heavy air is a bit risky against a high level Dark Ranger, because you can't use it. If Sai did respond with any sort of air of his own, then you could Infi couldn't use shackles because of silence from the Dark Ranger would always be a threat, or he could use it, but it wouldn't be nearly as effective as it normally is, and so Sai going to be able to do some creeping. Ooh, Blood Mage being chosen second, as is so common these days, and 2 workshops going up, 2 workshops in the Griffin Aviary going up, as well as a bunch of upgrades now started, so it looks like we are going to be seeing tanks mixed in with a couple Griffins, and we're going to be seeing Sai now going to take down this one peasant, and actually this peasant going to run away. No, he's not going to make it. He's going to be turned into a skeleton, so it's going to cause even more headaches for Infi, who's just going to take a bit of damage here on his peasant before he gets out of there, and another Dark Minion being formed from a peasant inside. Ooh, actually loses a Dryad there. 2 towers, a bit clumsy, but not the end of the world certainly. He does have a couple bases running, and he might even try to get a 3rd base up soon. Well, while he knows, and now that he knows that the workshops are on their way. And look at this, a tower being put up here for Infi, just so he knows when when that expansion does start to go up. And bears now being brought in have used roar as well, and it looks like they're going to actually try and do some damage here. Initiative of Wonders going up in the back. Nice choice against that Mount King, just because it allows you to get some quick healing, things like that. And also, they don't have any of the tier 2 or tier 3 elf items, so hopefully this isn't his only Ancient of Wonders, because he's certainly going to need to be getting those staves and whatnot at some point. I mean, Mana Siphon now coming off from this TP, and it looks like Infi being a bit surrounded, but he does have the towers and the weak, and he's fighting against weakened units, so he can fight this away. And looks like Sai has 1 bear in Druid form, so he does get a bolt off immediately. Will this bear be able to run away? He rejuvenates himself, then goes into bear form, the best possible way just to keep that bear alive, but a bolt still goes off, and so that bear does go down. This Mount King now getting perilously close to 6, actually. Very, very nice play here by Infi, really making fantastic use of that Mount King, and having great items as well, especially when you combine it with that Blood Mage. We can obviously use Banish and Mana Siphon to give the Mount King more mana, and make his bolts do more damage as well, but both his heroes are quite low at this point. The Blood Mage actually ran to the expansion to buy some items. That's a smart choice there, and it looks like Sai, is he good? Yeah, he is retreating now, though he has bought an orb. Obviously he has to pick it up on his Panda as opposed to his Dark Ranger, just because it's always a bit tricky. Ooh, actually, oh sorry, he has to have it on his on his panda, because the Dark Ranger would lose her spell if she took it on the, or if the orb was on the Dark Ranger. She wouldn't be able to create skeletons. So it's definitely the best to have it on the on the on the panda. But I'm just so amazed. Why is Infi trying to expand here? Sorry, that's why I've sort of been so disjointed in my sentences. Just very confused as to what Infi's plan was here, what his ambition was. But it seems like we do have a Paladin third now for Infi. Probably going to be seeing him doing a bit of creeping, bit of towering, and then just sending out these sending out the tanks. But it looks like we do have the 2 workshops. It did have to be cancelled during that attack, and so maybe we're going to be seeing a complete tech switch into just tier 3 air, although we do have 1 workshop now going up and an arcane vault now going up here as well. This Ancient Wonder has actually managed to survive a remarkably long period of time. Nature's Blessing already done for Sai, which is just such an important upgrade. Meanwhile, more creeping going on here for Sai. Even though he's already level 5 on his Dark Ranger, he should probably pull it back, although I think what he wants more here is the skeletons as opposed to the creeps. Meanwhile, the Mountain King coming in from the back, and that bolt just does so much damage, especially with these bashes that he's getting, and this bear does need to go into Druid form, rejuvenate himself, and then try and avoid the Mountain King. Yes, silence goes off, nice play there by Sai, stopping the bolt from going off, and now hopefully he's going to be able to keep this bear alive for a little while at least, and an Ancient of Wonders being built here as well. I like this there's a little tactic we've been seeing here from Sai, where he puts up the Ancients of Wonders when he attacks, but meanwhile the expansion here from Sai is being attacked by Infi with just the 2 level 1 heroes and 4 footmen, so it's not a huge investment, but it's a nice little distraction, and it's going to go down unless Sai does something about it. And meanwhile, this expansion looking like it could stay alive, so fantastic play here by Infi, keeping us alive, and looks like we're going to have a Dark Ranger TPing to this base, and actually I'm not sure that's going to be enough now that there's Griffin Riders here as well with a first attack upgrade. So that's, although he does now have a couple bears and an archer running in as well. I wonder where that archer's been actually, but it looks like a lot of focus going down on this Dark Ranger, who might need a TP out actually, because Holy Light can go off and kill him. Banish being used, and Holy Light down to 20 hit points, but obviously you can't be attacked while you're banished, apart from by that Griffin. But the Griffin attack had just gone off, so Sai knew he was okay for a second longer, but he TP's out, and he's going to be forced to run out of his base. Fantastic defense here by Infi, actually getting level 6 as well on his Mountain King during that retreat. And these hippogriffs, as I say, they're going to be pretty useful against those Griffins because you can't get Dragonhawk Riders to counter them because of the silence, which is just so powerful against them, especially when it has such a high area of effect. And also Charm will soon be done for this Dark Ranger, who's a level 5.5 at this point. And then once you can start charming some nice units like knights, things like that, it really becomes hard for Infi to actually manage to sustain production of all these units just off these 2 bases that he does have. This panda still only level 3, but that's not bad. He can still just get some lots of breath of fire and things like that off on the towers. That's always very nice. And looks like the 2 heroes still level 1. Oh, actually no, one of them, the Blood Mage is level up to level 2 now. It on the retreat, but the Blood Mage does have a staff, so he can staff the Paladin home. Probably should actually. And a couple towers being set up right in the back where Sai was hoping, or Infi was hoping Sai wouldn't see them, but he does see them in the end. And so 3 skeletons being created, and probably should just be left here to dissuade for future expansion attempts for the next couple seconds at least. And it looks like the remainder of Sai's army is just going to go around trying to stop the expansion, which is probably the best move. Probably should be trying to expand himself. He even has this hippogriff here to ensure that there's no sneaky expansion by Infi going on there. And it looks like we are going to be seeing it's just some creeping of these ogres. Maybe we're going to be seeing a shredder picked up if Sai wants to get that 3rd expansion. He might be short on number. Let's take a look. No, he's not actually that short on numbers, so if he wants to get a 3rd expansion, then you can get that shredder, and then you don't even need to build more wisps. You can just transfer some number wisps. Ooh, meanwhile, this Dark Ranger being bolted and now should be on the run, should be banished and Holy Lighted by Infi, but unfortunately doesn't quite get to it, so that Dark Ranger will be rejuvenated. Meanwhile, the Panda's going to be very much the tanking unit until these bears can get to the front line, and this one hippogriff actually going to do a lot of damage, especially with Banish, with Haze being used as well, but he is finally banished, and so he will be allowed to live for a little while longer, though he is very slow, and the hippogriff was eventually taken down. Very nice play here by Infi, keeping his units alive. And you should remember actually that Banish has no cooldown, so it's a very useful spell if you have enough mana to support it. And look at the Mount King actually now could go for a bolt, take out 1 archer, but certainly the archers aren't the big threat here, although they do decent damage actually to the griffins. But the griffins do have almost 1,000 health now that they have that animal war training upgrade, so it's not going to be too critical. I mean, a tank now finally coming in, but Sai is more than prepared. He has a mud golem to slow it, and then hopefully he'll have a dot out at some point. It looks like he's still producing hippogriffs actually, but if he gets a dot out at some point, that'll be very useful for taking out the armor as well. And these siege engines do only are just 1-0 upgraded, so they are still fairly easy to take out, especially in the low numbers like this. And we do have this expansion still up, and Mount can gonna come in, probably gonna kill off a couple wisps, and then maybe try and get out of here. I'm not sure what his game plan is. No, goes for a bolt on this hippogriff. Will he go for another one? We might just see him just try and run away at this point. I think he's in he's in too risky territory at this point. Goes for a bolt here and might even try and get the drag kill as well. He does get the first kill. Will he get the second? The drag is quite quick and can even turn around and get pot shots off on that Mount. Can try and slow him down a little bit. And meanwhile, we do have little small armies just spread all around. This is how you have to play against tanks, and it can be very tricky. The Mount King killing so many units. That bolt is just does so much damage, and hippogriffs can die in 2 bolts clearly. So nice play here by Infi, just constantly being pushing. Even has some ivory towers here. Probably gonna set them up to try and take this expansion. It's really odd expansion to try and take. We know we do have creeping of this. Obviously these creeps are going to go down so quickly because they have heavy armor, so they'll take extra damage from these Griffin Riders, which actually have fewer upgrades than you normally see, just because we've seen a weird army composition here from Infi, and so to support it all, he's had to sort of cut back on his upgrades, which normally you really want to get, especially when you're getting things like tanks. And it looks like we're going to be seeing this Dark Ranger being even closer to level 6, now with a Wand of the Wind as well, which is so nice when heroes are such an important part of your army, especially that Mount King. Nice one shot from the Dryad here, cancels the Clarity Potion on that Mount King, and then should hopefully just try and run away, or at least keep his distance from the melee heroes. Obviously he can't be bolted, so he's generally going to be okay as long as he isn't too aggressive. And now Infi coming in with just 3 Griffin Riders, and then his 3 heroes as well, level 6, 3, and 2. So that's not bad hero levels actually. And we do have these towers being set up now, so we might be seeing some expansion attempt here at a later date. And inside now being supply blocked at 71 out of 70, so he won't be able to complete his 80 food army, but he is going for a counterattack here. Going to take out 1 workshop before tank finishes, and we do have another workshop down here, and actually a tank to be produced from there, but it's unlikely to be able to make it here before Sai has to TP home, because he's just taking too much damage here at the moment. Actually, Divine Shield being used by his Paladin? That's very odd. I'm not sure if he was too worried about taking damage or something. Maybe he doesn't want to take damage once he TPs in, or he didn't want to have he didn't want to be poisoned, so he didn't take too much damage before he TP'd in. I'm not sure what his real sort of disaster scenario was in his head, but I think it was a bit preemptive at least. Actually, a bolt going off there on a Dark Minion, that's odd, but Book of the Dead being used, that's just such a strong spell, especially when you don't have wisps around, or such a strong item, that Sai just has to TP out of there, because he was blocked in as well, so he's only going to take more and more damage, and there are 3 towers in the back, really doing a lot to keep him down. And meanwhile, we do still not have a staff actually on either of these 2 heroes, which is really surprising, because both of them have staffs with teleportation, and which is obviously a very important item against tanks, just because otherwise the tanks can really get in your face. Ooh, cannon tower being built here. Immediately going to try and kill one of those Dryads, but unfortunately the Dryad runs out of range, and that would have gotten the kill otherwise. Infi has got the 3rd masonry upgrade as well, so it's going to be very, very hard to take down this cannon tower, which does have almost 1,000 health, and it does actually have fortified armor as opposed to the heavy armor that all of their towers have, or all of their human towers at least have. And meanwhile, these skeletons are going to do a good job, but you do take a fair bit of damage. Even though it's siege damage, your heroes will take a fair bit of damage from it. And Infi now running in with some of these skeletons he did have from the previous battle. I'm going to try and probably just get a block here, but look at that bear being taken out by the cannon tower. Really, really, it's such a great tower. It's a shame that it takes so long to build, basically. And we do have an attack now going on here, and a charm being used there. Very, very nice to steal that 1 Griffin Rider. As I was saying, once you get to the point where there's just where you can charm units, it becomes so much more annoying to try and build those, just because a higher proportion of your army does get stolen every time a charm is used. And so we do see some knights being built as well, and I imagine some of them will be stolen in time, though certainly bears are a bit better than knights in that sense. So really, that's not the main worry. The main worry is the Griffin Riders, which are being stolen gradually. And we did see 1 tank taking out a couple buildings, but nothing too critical there. Certainly Sai is not going to be too worried about what he lost there. And it looks like his Tree of Eternity has been uprooted. Maybe it's walking here. I'm not sure where it's gone actually, but maybe it was killed by tanks. I didn't even notice. But it looks like Dark Ranger taking a lot of focus now. Gonna need to avoid that Mount King now until he's healed up a bit more with that rejuvenation, especially with Banish Bolt and Holy Light. Just such an intense, tremendous damage dealer. Bolt goes off here. This Dark Ranger now in a lot of trouble. Does have an invulnerability potion, which he should be using as soon as possible. Holy Light it as well. He should use it, although it looks like he might. No, he does just get away without it. Very, very nice play there by Sai, who has stolen actually now a Knight as well. Very, very strong play here. And meanwhile, Banish and Bolt being used to one-shot these hippogriffs from Sai. Very nice play here by Infi, making such tremendous use of this hero combination. Works so effectively, especially against the Dark Ranger. But the Dark Ranger has healed up back to full health. Does have 900 maximum health, so can take a bit of damage. Nice use of the Moonwalls here. And it looks like now the Blood Mage is finally under a bit of focus. I wonder, yeah, we do have staffs on all 3 human heroes, so it should be. Oh no, it isn't Staffed Home. Looks like an invuln pot was passed, but at the last second. And there wasn't a chance to use it, and meanwhile this Paladin now being surrounded, but will certainly be Staffed Home now that if he has the. No, he doesn't! Oh wow, this is very, very bad now for Infi. I'm not sure if he was maybe cycling to the last second. No, he wasn't even. I'm not sure what happened there that meant that that Infi didn't staff at home. Maybe that staff was still on cooldown from something else. Obviously, cooldown always been a bit bugged in replays in terms of you can't really see what's going on, and that yet again Infi trying to set up the expansion for the 3rd time or so. We're going to have to see what he can do there, and I'm not sure what happened at all to that, to his Tree of Eternity, but it must have been killed by tanks, or maybe it was killed when it was walking in here. Just so much stuff goes on in tank games, it's so hard to try and follow all of it, especially with one player having to be the white color as well. It's just so annoying when you don't have observers in game. I mean, this Mount King doing some more and more damage, but this Dark Ranger so pesky. Charm doesn't even cost that much mana, and then if you just steal the Griffin Riders like this, you can kill off those Knights so quickly. And meanwhile, it looks like Infi just being left with 1 Mount King, and that's about it. He does actually. Oh, he has 1 Griffin Rider he staffed home, and apart from that, not too much, as Sai tries to take down a couple of these towers. Maybe he's going to try and expand here and really shift up that map. 1 Griffin Rider being taken down by a tower, but still, I mean, it's 1 Griffin Rider that Infi lost, and he did have to spend a lot of time focusing it down. But it looks like one of these bears is going to go down maybe to this cannon tower, unless it looks like it probably is going to be okay overall, but just because it's it is being rejuvenated, and that's just so strong. Looks like he is going to run it away and can just leave this Griffin Rider here to take it out. I mean, this Dark Ranger staffing to try and get to this base here. Oh, here's a Tree of Eternity. Oh, thank God I didn't miss it being killed. It was just hiding down there a bit, and looks like, oh, this is a suicide attack by Sai here. He's going to try and kill off a couple peasants, but a Mountain King bolt staffing in, immediately getting that bolt, and going to be able to kill this bear, assuming he focuses the cannon tower. Yes, there he goes. And will he? Oh no, he doesn't. 22 hit points left. He's going to be able to rejuvenate it. Careless mistake there by Infi. I mean, there's so much stuff going on the map. You can sort of understand that it would happen, but just that sort of thing, it's so simple to get like a bear kill, and now this bear's rejuvenated. He's going to be at full health very soon. Very unfortunate there for Infi, and we can see he is still attacking there with that 1 Griffin, but 1 Griffin of Infi is now attacking him, and looks like this Panda now in a lot of trouble. Does have a TP, or does have an invuln pot if he needs to use it, and then can be staffed home as well, and then just staff back with his staff of teleportation. But it looks like he just uses an invuln pot and get a run home. And meanwhile, Bolt going off here, and Dark Ranger doesn't actually have a staff. I can't believe that. Still no staff of preservation. Amazing that he's playing so risky, using an invuln pot and then a rejuvenation. Both his heroes so low. He's going to be on the run. Will he be killed by the Mountain King? Mountain King uses his bolt. No! Dark Ranger stays alive for now. We just get a bash though. Will he be able to? Oh no, it wasn't a bash. Sorry, the Avatar attacks all look like bashes to me, unfortunately. And looks like the siege engine's now 3-0 upgraded. Still no armory upgrade, surprisingly. But it's he does have the 3 attack upgrades, which do mean it's very quick to take things down, as long as you don't as long as you aren't being attacked, in which case it does, the siege attacks do go down fairly quickly, and this expansion's still up for Infi. Infi with a good economic advantage, even if he has lost his heroes a couple times, and he hasn't had a huge army. But we've seen from this style in the last 6 months, maybe a year, that really once you have these 3 heroes out, you can really do a whole lot without a huge army. And these 3 hippogriffs now going to be chasing down this 1 Griffin Rider who should have been banished actually, but looks like Infi just gonna be happy to run away. Maybe he's gonna banish it now. Yes, he does. Nice play there by Infi, and that's gonna keep this Griffin Rider alive for a lot longer. He can run into the range of towers and the range of this Mountain King, which will guarantee him at least 2 hippogriff kills, which is a disproportionate cost really for Sai, considering that he's not mining nearly as much. And Infi now dropping a couple items so he can use a mana potion and a clarity potion, and then picks up the penance of energy again because he doesn't want an invisible hero picking them up while his clarity potion takes effect. And he does immediately get one hippogriff kill there, and surely we're going to be seeing this expansion being taken by Sai. Now I'm not sure where his Tree of Eternity went, but might be walking around here now. It'd be a nice choice if he did. Still, ooh, actually only 4 wisps on the mine here. It's either careless by Sai, or he's trying to prolong his mining time for a bit longer, figuring that he'd rather just wait a bit and mine it out maybe when he's at a lower, or finish mining it out when he's below 50 food, actually, which he is now. Maybe he's gonna, no, he still hasn't. It'd be nice if he could put them on now, so he could mine a bit more and lose a bit less to upkeep. And now 4 greater dark minions being run in to tank a bit of damage. Oh, he tries to take down those towers, but this cannon tower has just been so fantastic all game long. It's been the same one, it's just done so much damage, and looks like a 1 breath of fire goes off this panda, now level 5, so he kills all those peasants so quickly, and this cannon tower actually finally going to go down, but not before having done a lot of damage to a bear, and the rest of the towers can't finish it off, and the TP now coming in. Will it be a full TP, or will it just be a staff teleportation? It's a full TP, and now the bolt goes off on the panda, who's also being mana siphoned, and still no staff though on that Dark Ranger. She does have an anti-magic potion, which is very, very useful in this situation, and a lot of militia being brought in as well with the TP, just to be able to tank them down and chase those bears away. And this panda now using a staff to get out of here. Tree of Eternity has actually managed to finally walk here and going to kill these 2 towers. One of them a cannon tower, actually. Very, very ambitious here. Looks like both of the heroes are going to be able to take those down, but in the meantime, Sai going to lose at least 1 bear here. This Mud Golem's obviously magic immune, so he can't be bolted and can even slow that Mount King if he gets too close to anything else. And 1 Griffin Rider here should be charmed away. Probably Dark Ranger at full mana, so certainly no harm in doing it. Yes, there it goes there. Nice play here, but we do see that the Mount King does now have a orb, which allows him to get bash when he hits air units just like that, and that's just so useful in just this situation. Basically, there's no other situation in which the human orb is even remotely useful, but in this sort of situation where there's lots of air units being used against you, and you have a Mountain King, which is a high level, has a high level bash, level 3 bash almost certainly, it's quite nice to get that aerial bash and also ranged bash option as well, which is just so strong. And meanwhile, another siege engine just in here, going to be taking out a couple more Moonwolves, and we can see that over time, Sai's base has just been destroyed through attrition. He's been losing 1 or 2 units a lot, really frequently. It looks like another banish goes off and a bolt, taking that Griffin Rider down to 195 hit points. And we can see, actually, one thing, it's possible you don't know this, but some upgrades do transfer, like animal war training do transfer once you use charm, but things like attack upgrades do not transfer when you use charm. It's an odd quirk. I'm not sure what the decision there was, but it looks like the Tree of Eternity being forced to uproot and all 5 wisps detonating, but I think that's actually a really strong thing to do in this matchup, because it really lowers the mana on all 3 heroes, which are so important. Charm being used yet again to steal a knight this time, and will we be seeing a hero kill here? The Muggolem's being brought in. He can certainly get slow off on the units, or maybe just getting it off on the Griffin Rider would be nice. That's certainly what he's done this time. And then 1 cannon tower has made it up. Mana Siphon being used on this bear to drain his mana, and then eventually to give it to that Mount King. The 2 heroes of Sai being kept very far to the back because they just can be focused down so quickly if he's not careful. If he doesn't have that wall of bears between them. Bear still only 1/1 upgrade. Bolt goes up there to kill 1 more bear, and it looks like Infi going to try and just pick off a couple more units while his tanks cause a huge commotion, huge distraction, and it looks like these Breath of Fire goes off yet again, actually, to take out this, or to try and take out this cannon tower, which is taking a lot of focus here, but just has so much armor, and it's fortified armor as well, so it's so hard to kill, but it does eventually go down. And we know we have such a huge army here, but his heroes are the vulnerable part of his army, no doubt. Look how a banish goes off and a mana siphon. Will Infi be okay, or will Sai be okay here? He needs to use his invuln pot and maybe his anti-magic potion after that to keep him alive. He should really try and use that anti-magic potion while a bolt is in the air, or while he thinks a bolt is about to come, just because obviously it's so dangerous. If he loses his Dark Ranger, he could lose this game, but otherwise he has such a strong army in this situation. Just so many bears, even a couple knights in there, doing a fantastic job of chasing Infi away whenever he gets here, and Infi just with a couple units left, and really at this point it's too late to try and change his army composition at all, but certainly it'd be very nice if he had a large army of small food units, just so that the charm wasn't being so annoying against him, because at the moment he only has 3 units, and Sai probably has 1 or 2 of his units as well, just so it's such a large proportion of his army that he's constantly losing. This expansion is still open, mining a couple Breaths of Fire would be nice if, even if Sai just staffed his Dark Ranger. Oh no, because he'd staff it to this Tree of Eternity. Oh, and that's a shame. It looks like he can't do any more tricky I was thinking if he could staff his panda home, bring it up to that expansion, and then use his staff interpretation to get back into the battle quickly. That would be nice, but obviously he can't do that. And a lot of militia being brought in here. Another charm being used by Sai as well, stealing so many units. And even at this point, it'd be nice to be stealing those militia as well, just so you could build an arcane vault, get some very, very nice arcane scrolls. Mana Siphon going off here, but the Spell Mage now in a lot of trouble because he is in one position, and he does get Breath of Fire and killed, and this is now very, very bad for Infi, who does still have his Mount King and Paladin combination, which is such a strong combination. Panda being forced using Invuln Pot, a couple more towers being set up in the back here, but a nice wall of bears and Dark Minis might be able to save this the Panda while he runs home. He will be able to staff back into the battle, but obviously his Moonwalls aren't anywhere nearby to his to where he gets staffed home now, so it's a bit unfortunate for him there, and these towers will go down, and the chase will continue. A bolt goes off and does kill the Panda. Oh my god, maybe Infi is still in this game. I think he probably is, just sort of only a couple units left, but that Mount King is such a beast at high levels, and with the Paladin to heal and then the two stabs to keep each other alive, that's just so strong. And undoubtedly the Blood Mage is on the way back. Maybe even this Panda is going to be taverned back. I'm not sure if he can afford it really at this point, but it's so important to have that Panda in the battle. And I wonder if we're going to be seeing another charm pretty soon on this last night, just leaving a couple units left. Nice staff teleportation. The Paladin uses this, or staff preservation, being used firstly on the, or Staff Sanctuary, sorry, Staff Sanctuary being used by the Paladin first on the Knight, and then by the Mount King on the Paladin, just to save everything. And ooh, look at this, the Panda being brought back in sight of the Mount King, who has enough mana for 3 bolts at this point, basically. But bolt number 1 being used, this Panda now in a lot of trouble, should be, past this potion of magic and vulnerability. That's going to be very, very useful in this Mount King now on the run. But with the boots, he is actually alright fast. He's so slow without those boots, but with the boots, he is fast enough to get away from most things. And looks like we do have this expansion still up and running, although, not up and running, but it's up at least. Did have to reroute, obviously, so it's going to take a little while. And looks like this one bear going to run home, going to regenerate some mana on the Moonwalls, and then use Rejuvenation to do the bulk of his healing, probably. And looks like a very decent army, though a very strange army considering it's tier 3 but from 2 different races. And it looks like we do have Bolt going up just to kill a Wisp there even. Infi really leaving no prisoners at all. He's just going to be killing off absolutely everything he can. Meanwhile the Paladin now healing up, rejuvenating, using a Clarity to get a bit more mana, and obviously the Blood Mage will just want to pass as much mana as possible to that Mount King, and the Mount King obviously dropping his items so he can get maximum efficiency from all those mana transfers. And it looks like we do have the Dark Ranger running back in yet again. Going to try and tank a bit of damage, and then run the rest of his units as well. This Griffin Hunter actually be fantastic against these towers. I'm amazed he isn't bringing it in, because obviously magic damage does a whole bunch of extra to heavy armor. And it looks like we do see a bit of a counterattack here by Infi, who's just been playing constant counterattacks all game long. Panda can be brought in, yeah, there he is there, and he uses a Breath of Fire immediately, and that's going to allow all these peasants to be picked off very, very easily. Only 2 towers left here at this expansion. This expansion probably going to go down, but also this expansion going to go down as well. And Infi now, or actually Sai bringing out his Wisps, going to detonate them on as many heroes as possible, but look at this, Infi making it as hard as possible. Going to only get 2 and misses the really important one, the Mount King, but the Mount King has so much maximum mana that using a couple detonates isn't really going to change anything. This expansion actually left alive so that Sai can try and get back to save his, but he's not going to be able to. But it's going to be a while before Infi can actually do any mining from there. And it looks like Infi now setting up a couple towers, including a cannon tower and a guard tower, and one more charm being used to steal another Griffin Rider. Very, very nice play here, and anti-magic pushing being used as well by that Panda, and who's so close to level 6. Actually, we could see a Storm, Earth, and Fire. That'd be very, very nice at this point. And look, this one bear could be focused down as well. Just so much focusing power from this hero combination, with and longevity as well with the Paladin. And it looks like the Dark Ranger can be chased away, but he does have Rejuvenation, so he is going to be back. And Storm, Earth, and Fire being used now by Infi. He immediately Cyclone going off on this Mount King. Not going to even try and surround it though. Instead he's going to try and pick off the Paladin, while the Mount King is unable to bolt, and actually has many fewer good targets now. And the Storm one, the really important one, lagging a bit behind. But unfortunately Infi slows down a bit. This one Agent of War just sort of going on some sort of quest, really not really partaking in the battle, but certainly be nice just to have him at least as a threat of something that will attack. And it looks like we do have one of the Griffin Riders of Psy being taken down by 2 of the Griffin Riders of Infi, and it looks like we do have Psy really on the run now. But this hero combination is so strong. We'll have the Dark Ranger being brought back into this battle very soon, surely. And looks like this the Paladin, the Mount King now getting a bolt off on this Panda, who is back in Panda form. Gonna be taken down, possibly. Yes, he does go down, and this is very bad now for Psy. This tri-hero combination is so strong, and Psy just doesn't have the income to buy it back at the tavern, possibly even at all. And oh my god, this is so bad. I think Infi's gonna take this battle with this amazing hero combination and the really amazing micro. Apart from that one slip up where he lost 2 heroes, seemingly needlessly, though that might have been because of cooldowns. And certainly, I think the one thing that we could have seen a bit better here from Psy is we could have seen better silences. He did get a couple really good ones off, but certainly it's very easy to predict when a Mountain King is going to want to use a bolt. And look at the Avatar being used, as well as another bolt, and Mana Siphon now being used on this Dark Ranger. All of it was going on him, and Psy says GG. Wow, what an amazing game there. Wow, so back and forth. Infi really looked like he didn't have a chance until he just took down those heroes so proficiently. Very fantastic play here by both sides, but Infi proves that he's a stronger player in the end, and will go on to the last 2 in the upper bracket finals. So I hope you enjoyed that game, folks. I'll bring you a couple more games from this tournament as they come in, and please feel free to comment, rate the video, and subscribe as ever. Thank you very much.